Ladies and gentlemen, are you ready for the first ever Edinburgh Fringe BudPod Live? Then welcome to the stage, Pierre Novellie and Glenn Moore. We need to be on mic. This is being recorded for broadcast, so...
Well, let's start off with, it's a pleasure to meet you.
Nice to meet you. Finally, we've never met in person. This is the first time.
We do our podcast recordings back to back. Like spies meeting in a church. Mr. Novellie, I presume. Let's talk about poo.
The anus is unwiped. I repeat. We've gone poo very early there. I'm sorry about that.
Well, this happened. I mean, not to get scatological early doors, but but we will. This earlier on this evening, this very evening, I was I had done my show and I went to Pizza Express on my own, which was a normal thing to do. And
Glenn is one of the Fringe's leading solo diners.
I think you get treated remarkably well. If you bring a notepad and pen, then you look like a mystery shopper and they have to treat you insanely well. You
keep addressing the waiters by their name tag, don't you? Thank you, Joshua.
Yeah, but I keep doing it in air quotes and it's very aggressive. So, if you really are a sandwich technician, So I was having my pizza and then they said, can we get you anything else? And I said, I'd like some garlic oil, please. And the waitress was like, sure. And then she went, this is going to sound like a braggadism. She went, are you Glenn Moore? And I said, yes, I am. And she went, oh, I heard you on a podcast the other day. And it was Mel Giedrich's Well, There's a Will, There's a Wake, which you did when Phil was temporarily hosting it, where you basically talk about your dream, I don't know, death and funeral and
Dream
the like.
funeral.
Like Dream funeral.
It's a shockingly popular podcast given the...
insanely niche. She's hilarious, but what a niche.
Harrowing concept.
Yeah. But in that podcast, I told a story, which I then said to the producers, I might email you afterwards to say, can we cut this, please? Because I think I might regret telling this.
I think I know which one this is.
And if I have told this already on BudPod, then apologies.
You haven't, because the story is tattooed on my soul. I know you haven't. This
is awful, and it's an awful... I know this is like my 8th impression on you guys. But it's not too late to really lose a lot of you. Well, I was visiting a friend who lived in Bordeaux. This is when the I Love Lamp Cards Against Humanity incident happened. But
a shudder went through the room here.
He was just like at work, working during his day job during the day, and I was just going to various pubs during the day, and was just having a lot of sort of very nice French beers, and was just reading books, and was just having a very nice French bohemian lifestyle. And I went
nothing but charcuterie.
Lots of charcuterie, and it got to the extent where I went to a pub in the evening where I had a real repast, a real you must be weary, traveller, bread, sausage, big flagon of mead,
Can I interject here to explain something about you? Glenn's favourite meal is the meal of a fabulously corrupt abbot. If you imagine the sort of meal that Martin Luther would have accused the Bishop of Leipzig of having, like just flagons of fizzy lager and a whole cheese, side of ham.
It's how I decide which drinks to go by. When some people might check like alcohol percentage or year of the bottle of wine, I'm just sort of like, is there an abbey on the front? Is there a monk? Is there a rolling field? Does it look pastoral? Is there a nunnery? Then I'm going to buy it.
Yeah. Your favourite meal is like Lord of the Rings meals.
It's like Lord of the Rings meal.
Measurements of food that you don't actually know. A schmunkle of cheese and a whole cragon of ham. And you go,
yes.
Okay,
and
I'm sure those are real.
The measurement of more Lembas bread. So I had this big sort of sausage and bread and stuff like that, and I was just farting helplessly. It wasn't intentional, but I'd never ingested this much meat and bread and wheat beer, and it was just relentless flatulence. I was trying to keep it in, and it was just my body was fighting. My bum was fighting for its life. It was just awful, and I hated it. And in one of the worst, most mortifying moments of my life, the landlord of the pub got up and locked the door so he could check the bottom of everyone's shoes. Clearly someone's walked in a dead fox. I'm so fucking ashamed. What an awful, awful moment in my life. And obviously when he couldn't find anything, it was just sort of like, you all need to go to the hospital immediately.
When he couldn't find anything, the horror that must have dawned on him, that this smell came from a person.
Yeah, and then he was like, I fucking locked the door. Open the door. The calls are coming from inside the house. So
It's
I
amazing.
said-
You once had such bad farts it caused a lock-in.
That's what caused prohibition in the 20s.
Shut it down. Anything that does this to the human system is no good.
Yeah, this waitress was like, I heard you on that podcast. And I went, oh God, I'm so sorry. Because I just remembered I forgot to ask the producers to remove a horrible story. And she went, no, it was okay, I removed it. And she was like, just the garlic oil, was it? And I was like, just the garlic oil? And I was like, yes, just the fart potion. Just the thing that would also ruin your restaurant this time. The unease with which he handed me a bottle of garlic oil. This time, like, I know what happens to you.
Well, you're the poo man now. To her.
No, I didn't shit. I didn't shit.
Sorry, you're the fart man. That's much better.
I'm a
Sorry,
Fartman.
yeah.
Fartman.
Yeah.
Jonathan Fartman.
That story, it blows my mind. Because I don't think I've ever heard of a landlord taking charge of the smell in his own pub to that degree. It's just incredible.
Yeah.
The owner of a nightclub wouldn't shut a nightclub to figure out who had done a fart or thrown up. The fact that he was like so French, so house proud. We will determine who has tracked dog shit into this. You should never smell a fart in the Wetherspoons because the loos are 8 miles. The loos are a DV away.
Yeah.
From where you're... Prince Philip should give you a medal for going for a piss.
Yeah. If you use the Wetherspoons app, they'll bring the toilet to your table, actually. It's actually...
Oh, I don't like that at all. Someone carrying it like the throne in 300.
But like, Tuesdays is curry club. Wednesdays is steak night. We don't talk about Thursdays. Thursdays, they bring the toilet to your table.
We should...
Yeah, and there's like a big fanfare. They have like sort of like loads of confetti and sparklers and stuff coming out the toilet.
Yeah.
Like it's your birthday at TGI's.
Yeah.
I had a really weird dream a year ago, and I woke up like dying laughing. I keep talking about my dreams on the podcast, and dreams are never interesting. But this is the only time I'd ever woken myself up really laughing from a dream. And I was laughing so much I had to go to the bathroom because I was going to wake up Katie because the bed frame was like shaking. It was like sex in a play was the sound of the bed. And I came back, I did actually wake her up, and she was like, what? Come on, what? And I told her, and she was like, okay, that's all right, actually, that's quite funny. I dreamt I was at an Indian restaurant with a friend who kept ordering from the British bit of the menu, like the egg and chips bit. And I was like, please don't do it. Because this restaurant, they really go to town on you if you order the egg and chips. And in the dream, he ordered the egg and chips. And the idea was this restaurant, when everyone ordered from the British bit of the menu, they lowered the lights, like when it's someone's birthday at TGI's. And over the tannoy, they'd play the EastEnders theme tune. That's a funny dream.
The idea of 4 waiters all carrying an omelette.
No, it wasn't even the drums. It was just really loud, distorted dun dun dun. Everyone's covering their ears.
The idea of the EastEnders theme being a kind of slur is so perfect.
Yeah.
I've never come up with a good joke in a dream. I've dreamt of doing stand-up. Like I've done routines on stage in my dreams, but they've always just been like dream gibberish.
Oh, I've got a whole section on my show this year about that, and it is humiliating. How is your show going, by the way?
Good, yeah. Thanks to you guys. I mean, we're all getting Kojis on the way out, and you're getting Kojis as well.
Getting fucking COVID, mate. You guys are disgusting.
It's good. Also, we're delighted you're here, given that we genuinely decided to do BudPod Live here in Monkey Barrel basically at the last minute. And I've just sort of been telling people on the way out as though it's like a secret rave.
Yeah.
It's just like, hey, come back on Sunday. We're going to talk about bums.
Yeah. Don't tell anyone, and you didn't, and that's really handy.
First rule of Bum Club, you have to. Yeah. Yeah,
But
yeah,
I've seen your show already. I saw it on night 3 and loved it. Excellent show.
I've only seen you in preview.
No, but you're
coming
seeing it
again
next week, and you're seeing it with. This is a bit of confusion that Pierre had. Was Pierre was like, "Oh, my sister has never seen you do stand-up," and I thought, "Oh, that's odd because she lives in Scotland. I'm certain she's seen me at loads of my shows before."
Yeah.
And then you realised the other day you were like, "No, not my sister. It turns out you're coming next week with your fiance.
Yeah.
And your fiance's never seen me, and you commonly get your sister and fiance mixed
Yes,
up."
yeah. It's a source of a lot
They
of.
both remind you of your mum.
They both look exactly like my mum, who weirdly looks exactly like my dad. There's so many layers to whatever this is. Freud called me the onion. No, Joe's never seen you live. She's just sort of met you and heard you podcasting.
I hope she likes it. There's nothing worse when someone.
I hope she doesn't like it. So we can have a long conversation rather than a short conversation where we just agree it was good.
But that's it. That's the worst of the nightmare. I remember living with a guy in my first year at uni who was absolutely obsessed with that song. This is in like 2008. That it's too late to apologize. And he'd listen to it over and I hated that song so much. And he'd listen to it just on, like as soon as it finished, he'd start it again. Like it was just iTunes on repeat. And whenever it came up on like an advert, he'd ring his mates from back home and go, guys. And then he'd put his phone up to a TV, and then I'd hear them singing it back through the TV. And he was upset. What was the name of the band? Does anyone remember the name of the band? One Republic. Yes, well done. Thank you. That's why you're here. For
the aid of the listener, the gentleman who said One Republic has probably got the neatest beard I've ever seen on a live person. Verging on like CGI levels. Well done.
yeah.
No
Default player,
strays.
character creator in a video game. Like
Yeah,
really,
yeah,
that's custom built.
That's fucking great.
He was obsessed with One Republic, and then they were playing the Sheffield Academy, and he went to see them and was so excited. And then I saw him the next morning, and I was like, "Hey, how's One Republic?" And he was like, "Yeah." And then he never ever played the song again, and it was like, "What happened to you at the gig?"
What did they say? And this is the song that all the pedophiles in the crowd always love.
You know this one is called Rivers of Blood.
I want to see some Sieg Heils out here for you. It's too late to apologize. A difference between our shows is that on the way out here at Monkey Barrel, they've got you could do like a card reader thing if you didn't pay to get in, or like a tip, but also there's a bucket. Now, I've done a lot of Free Fringe shows where there's a bucket, and sometimes you get some odd stuff put in there. I mean, have you done Free Fringe stuff with people?
I did, yeah, first 3 years at the Fringe, 2016, 2017, 2018,
Yeah. What was the weirdest thing someone put in your bucket?
Probably a fiver, I didn't deserve it.
I've had a religious pamphlet, or I think the other oddest thing is like any amount of small change is such a fuck you. Someone walk out going like, here's what it was worth.
Yeah.
Clank, 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 clank.
But it's also one coin, and you go, how did you make four clanks?
Are you bouncing? Are you bouncing it? Are you dribbling a coin? Someone today, an old man, I genuinely think that I was visited by someone from the other world. A very old man in a fleece dropped coins in, and I looked, and it was 2 shiny 2p coins. Like, for the ferryman. Death came to my show. You'll need these for the river crossing. It was like a mafia threat. I think your show was worth an extra 4p.
You'd rather an entire horse's head in your bucket, or a horse's entire body but without the head.
Or just sort of dipping into the bucket.
Buy yourself something nice. I'm glad I didn't, because I used to have. I still to this day greet audiences as they leave the show, even though it's not a free show and it's not a pay what you want show. I still like to do it, and I still think it's just a nice thing to do. I'm like, look, you've been in this room for an hour.
Yeah.
I'm still in the room, so we may as well just sort of, it's a nice thing to say hello. But people say insane stuff. But it's not as bad. But what happened? Someone today, it was a real. We were talking about rudeness. There's something about me. I have an aura about me.
Yes, for anyone who's not familiar yet, Glenn is so non-confrontational that it seems to carry to certain people as a kind of smell. They can sense that they can be rude to you in a way that they would not dare with most people.
Yeah, and I think people almost see that at some point I'm zoning in on them and being rude just to them, but to no one else in the room. You fucking cunt. But no one else can see it. But they're being paranoid, and it's weird that they can do that. But someone came up to me today at my show. At the beginning of my show, I make some jokes about Croydon, and then at the end of the show, I sort of explained that I am from a working class upbringing, despite my insane anomaly of an accent. And then I explained that I'm actually from Croydon. But someone came up to me at the end of the show and sort of went, "Don't make fun of Croydon because you came across as very snobbish." And it was like, "Oh, so we're deciding not to listen, are we? We're not listening." A new rule. We're not listening. We're not listening to the show.
Leaving the Sixth Sense and going, why didn't they do anything about all those dead people?
Yeah.
The boy kept seeing them. What was their problem?
It was a lot more aggressive when I was very, very new. Very new. So 2017, I remember, I'd greet the audience as they came in. And I was at the Tron, just across the road from here. And it's a lovely venue. But I'd be saying like, "Hello, welcome to the show." And you'd get this couple would walk in and they'd be sort of like, "Are you meant to be the fucking comedian?" And then the person next to him goes, "Excuse me, my wife just asked you a question." And you go, How am I in the wrong? How am I?
That's...
I'm being rude, am I?
That's not an exaggeration. That's not a bit. I have never seen strangers tell off another adult the way that people just hone in on you and go, "Why are you wearing shoes today?
Yeah.
Drive me to the hospital."
No, I don't know who you are.
You give off this pheromone. It's like that Simpsons episode where they discover that bullying is caused by smells.
Yeah. Right, that really reassures me. They're like, "I guess you must stink. You must smell horrible, Glenn."
Not horrible, but bullyable. What was it the other year? Someone told you off for doing a joke about speedboats and...
Yeah, it was. I had this whole joke about where I did this really long explanation of dignitas because basically, no. You can laugh what you want. My fucking nan used dignitas, so fuck you. But my nan used dignitas, and I explained to the audience how the process works. And I don't know if you guys know how the process works, but it's 2 injections and it's 1 in each arm and stuff like that. And the idea is obviously they want to make it as comfortable as possible, and you can do it in a bed. But also they've got a big sort of lake outside because it's in Switzerland, and you can swim in the lake and stuff like that. And so a lot of people like to be led into the lake, and they like to be sort of like you're sort of held and stuff like that, and that's how you sort of you're in that sort of gentle state as you sort of pass away. So you sort of go into this sort of lake, and you get killed by the speedboat, and you just and you just slip away. You just slip away. Sorry to have to do the exact joke on stage, but it's the only way I can explain to you what this... But people would fall for it every night.
Yeah.
As did you.
I saw you do a preview of it, and the hush as you explained, like, "Yeah, this is my gran used dignitas."
Yeah.
Like, wow, it's fascinating. It's a fascinating insight. And no one ever questioned the being led into a lake bit.
No one ever did.
Switzerland, yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
Which now makes it difficult if I do explain the death of a close loved one. I'd be like, and then this happened, and obviously we went out to the London Underground. They're going, no. It was really horrible.
And the funeral was just underneath the 7th-story anvil factory.
But again, I was greeting the audience as they left, and this girl left, and she went, "My friend got killed by a speedboat." And as she left, her boyfriend went, "Why'd you fucking tell him that?"
I don't get any of this ever. No one I know gets spoken to like this. By the public. I want you to do the Fringe next year with a visible gun. Just holstered like an FBI agent here.
Yeah, at all times,
and just see if people speak to you in the same way.
I think they would. I think they... I don't like the cut of your jib. And they take the gun out and put it to their own forehead. I dare you. And even though it's just one of those ones that has a flag that says bang, it impales through their head. This hurts just as much as it looks like it does.
And then they'd leave with it still jutting out the back of their head. Yeah. The Fringe, obviously, if you're a performer, you guys will have walked around, and have you guys enjoyed being flyered? Yeah. Yeah, that's about the reaction to being flyered, I would say. I walked past the most aggressive flyer I've ever seen. So the bridge here in Edinburgh from Old Town to New Town is, due to construction, reduced to a single pavement. And it is psychotic. It is basically an entire city trying to swap halves with another entire city. Across one of those walkways in an airport. Like just fighting past each other in opposing directions.
If you were playing a video game like Pipe Dream or the mini games in BioShock, you'd long for a tile that slows the flow of the liquid like that, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
That's the dream.
It's so insane, and everyone's fighting to get past. A guy flyering decided to stand in the middle of that dynamic and flyer by really suddenly reproducing a flyer at eye height. Just like... But like suddenly from like around here, like a ninja throwing star, like that, like, and doing it in a row. So like you can't see what the man is doing, but you can see that 8 persons ahead, that person is going fucking hell. And so the rising fear as you approach the blank-eyed man, it's going like, oh, I hope it's not liquid, whatever it is. What is he throwing? It was like an improv show or something, and you just think, this is the least endearing way you could do this.
If he's not flying everyone, you feel like when you're on a log flume and there's a waterfall, and you're like, I hope the waterfall doesn't start when I'm under it, and it will. Yeah. God, that's shit, isn't it?
Really strange.
I can't. I know that every flyer thinks they've invented their flyering technique, and they haven't. But you have to. Excuse me, I've got a call for you.
Yeah, that's one.
Oh,
you dropped this?
There's been a horrible accident. I'm so sorry.
How did you get this number? Yeah.
I don't know who you are. I don't know what you want. If you want money, I haven't got ransom. But I will find you and I will kill you.
That's a good Neeson. Glenn is one of these comedians that actually has good impressions, but out of self-restraint refuses to employ them in his shows.
Because no one enjoys it. Like it's not pleasant for people to have to sit through it.
You've got a great Indiana Jones.
Oh, thank you.
Do you guys remember the Indiana Jones? Oh, there's
that
people
film
above
was
us.
a real drums in the doom.
The fools. They wanted another Edinburgh venue and they delved too deep. It's a cave improv troupe.
Speaking of films, I'm living by the sea this year, which I've never done before. I'm living on my own, I'm living by the sea, and it's very nice living by the beach. But I thought that would really relax me because I get very stressed about the Fringe because, you're just sort of on show every day and there's reviewers and industry people and there's people who are complete game changers in the industry who might be in your show and you never know how it's going to go. And it sort of makes me very nervous. And you're being surrounded by posters of your peers and seeing stars all the time. And I thought maybe it would be nice to be outside of town. And I thought it would really relax me by being by the sea because there's no posters around and it's very separate to the Fringe. But actually, I'm almost finding it harder because I'm watching people frolic about in the sea, and I'm starting to feel like if you've seen Terminator 2 when Linda Hamilton has that dream where she thinks an atomic bomb's going to land, and everyone's having a fun time in the playground, but she's like, what are you doing? People are like dancing around the sea, and I'm like, don't you see I have a show at 5:30?
And then you get blasted.
Why are you laughing?
The sun's going to make the room unbearable.
Yeah. I've got the Telegraph in today!
I'd lived with you and done several Fringes with you before I became fully aware of your verging on concerning daily routine before you do your show.
Oh, the wrists thing. Oh, no, what? The
fact that you do your show twice before you do your show.
Third time's the charm. Yeah, I do it.
It's so impressive and so insane.
I do it up and down the beach at the moment. I walk up and down the beach on my own, and obviously when a passerby comes by, I stop talking.
Crazy.
But I do. I don't know, just me. It's in the show, and it makes you. Then you reach a certain stage of Fringe where you don't do that, and it sort of makes you more relaxed. But yeah, I think it's I wouldn't say it's a normal thing to do, but I think it's an okay thing to do.
One of the last times we lived together, you would do your show in the mirror on your own, and then go do it in the woods.
When you put it like that. Any situation in life, you'd say the Lord's Prayer in the mirror, and then you'd say the Lord's Prayer in the woods, and you go, what the fuck?
That's a good
the
point.
Green River Killer used to do that.
Can we think of anything that's normal to do first in the mirror and then in the woods?
Wanking, but other than that, I can't. And then a third time screaming and into the sink. But other than that, I can't think of any other.
Screaming it into the sink is an awful phrase. I'll never forgive you for.
I think when I first started, though, I had this real fear. I mean, coming straight out of like going into comedy and having no sort of like not knowing anyone in comedy or anything like that. And I guess I'm not saying you had necessarily the benefit of having been in the Footlights, but you knew other people in comedy.
Yeah, I'd through student comedy and stuff. I mean, that's how I met you, was through the weird Footlights Free Fringe gig.
Absolutely. We would have been 14 years that we met this very month.
14 years this very night. But Glenn's been dead for 10 years. We met in the basement of the Italian restaurant, which at the time had a big old bust of Mussolini in it. And a couple of his quotes on the wall.
Yeah.
As if the restaurant
But
was
just
going...
stuff like, if you don't deserve me at my worst, you don't deserve me at my best.
They had Mussolini tat. They had 1920s fascism tat. And the guy who ran the restaurant was just like, yes. He's nice. It's just like, okay, I guess we'll do comedy in this room. He was behind a curtain. You'd pull a curtain back and there'd be a big Il Duce head, and you go, okay, we'll just shut this.
Yeah. Like a Wizard of Oz who didn't react.
Horrifying. Where else would students learn to do stand-up? Then in a Mussolini-themed basement under an ice cream stall. What was your worst venue, do you think? Mine was the basement of a Latasca in Newtown. Yeah. In the basement of a Latasca in Newtown at like 1 p.m., me and my friend Johnny were doing half an hour each, Johnny Leonard. And the basement was like just a venue for the Free Fringe, but it was also where the kitchen was. And the waiters had to leave the kitchen and go up a spiral staircase in the middle of the room into the restaurant. And there was just daylight fucking blaring in from like basement skylight sort of things. So there was very much like, it's daytime. We're in the underneath tapas. And the sound system of the basement couldn't control the constant trumpet music. So it was just constant like La Cucaracha, like... And like in between you and the crowd as you're doing stand-up, a panicked man would carry sizzling fajitas. And the whole crowd would go, sizzling, I want that. And like all 7 German backpackers would stop listening.
I like the fact that the spiral staircase in the middle of the room made it look at some point as if all the waiters were just one by one ascending into heaven. They did it. They got the correct combination of food. Like,
the patatas bravas. Dal Dio.
Yeah. He has chosen wisely.
A carpenter's dish. Yeah. What a pleasure it is to have a crowd that understands that reference, even a little bit. Well done, everyone. Well done. Every now and then at the Fringe, you'll do some clever reference, and the whole audience will look at you and go, like you farted. They'll go, that's a shame. What's your worst Fringe venue, do you think? Mine is definitely basement of a Latasca at 1 p.m. We tried to go fly the International Book Festival. The bouncers wouldn't let us.
Tricky one. Top 3, probably Monkey Barrel 3. I think. No, I don't like. I've been quite. Like, I'd say my debut hour was a Fringe room, which is a lot nicer now, but it was called Just the Tonic, just up the road, and it was a 100-seater, which was too big for me for my debut. But it was a literal cave, and it's in a block of venues called the Caves.
Yeah, down the road from here.
I found even though it was a very warm venue, on my wall one day, I just saw attached to the wall a block of green ice. And I'm colourblind, but I was like, I know when green's green. And that's really fucking green. And before my show, I reached out and I touched the ice. And it was very warm. And I thought, that is nice. And then I got very sick for 11 days after that.
No!
To this day, do not know what it was. But that's the beginning of every sci-fi film I've ever seen in my life. That's like face hugger territory. That's the
You should have
Ryan
gone-
Reynolds, Jake Gyllenhaal film. Yeah.
You should have gone back into the room with all the other crew, and when they say, "So what was that sound?" you had to go, "No, it's nothing,
Yeah.
nothing," and then pull your sleeve over the
Yeah.
bite. No, it's
Have you
nothing.
written jokes on your hand? No. It's nothing. It's nothing.
No, it's nothing. It was just a sound. That's fucking horrible.
Yeah. That's really the worst one.
The caves down there are like very damp and spooky. And do you remember Will Seaward? You remember him?
Yes.
Yeah. Very funny guy. He's the director and writer of my first ever Fringe show, which was a pirate play for children with no dialogue.
As in, sorry, the children had no dialogue. Let's just make that very clear.
They
It
were
was for a play
silenced.
for entirely mute children. Does your child have no dialogue? Then they'll love this.
That's our new euphemism.
That's a weird way of talking. Yeah.
Yeah. He said that a friend of his who's a biologist specializing in various molds and things, like he was a PhD researcher, went to go see a show in the caves, and just while he was watching the show, like he got bored, so he was just looking at the wall, and he noticed the mold, and he was like, and he just scraped a bit off and put it in his wallet and took it to his lab, because at the University of Edinburgh, I think, and tested it, and it was like a new type of mold. Genuinely. It was like the basis of his thesis. It was just like, we didn't think this could grow.
Yeah. It makes people have specifically 3-star shows. We don't know.
We're calling it the yes and mold. Yeah. So that's your worst one.
Absolutely, yeah.
That's okay.
There's
that's
a sickness
all right.
one, yeah. Other than that, they've all been in like purpose-built venues and stuff like that.
Yeah.
The thing about the
Felipe,
French-
if you're listening, bleep. I don't want to be sued by a Mussolini bust-owning.
the estate have been in touch.
Do you know
And
this?
they've said that's the worst thing anyone's said about him in quite some time.
Benito hated Fringe comedy. All opera for him. Do you know that the granddaughter, I think, of Mussolini is alive and a senator in Italy, elected?
Is she the one who, when Jim Carrey drew a cartoon of Mussolini being hanged, she went, "You were a bastard"? She replied, "Yes."
Yeah. She quote
That's all I
tweeted Jim
remember.
Carrey being like, "Oh, fuck off, that's my granddad."
He fought in the war.
More than you did, Jim Carrey.
While you were making Mr. Popper's Penguins.
Have you seen Mr. Popper's Penguins?
I have not. But I won't.
I think Jim Carrey has unlost his mind. He lost his mind for a bit.
Yeah, okay.
If you want to watch him being weird, watch him on Norm Macdonald's YouTube chat show.
Oh, I'd say if you want to watch him being weird, watch Liar Liar. He was crazy. The guy's a lunatic. The pen is blue. What are you talking about? Anyway, I think we've got time for one more question.
I hate all of that so much. That was like you licked your finger and put it in my ear. That was like a wet willy. I really disliked that.
Over that time I licked your finger and put it in my ear. You hated that a lot, Mark.
You're trapped in here with me. Yeah. Jim Carrey gets on Norm Macdonald's show and starts rambling all this crazy stuff about colostrum, and colostrum is this chemical in your spinal column, and that's why Santa Claus is Claus, because of colostrum, and it controls your desires. And you just go, "Oh, you're mad. And it's very funny watching a comedian like Norm Macdonald, whose whole bit is that he's going to say the craziest stuff, having to go, that's pretty interesting. Like having to realize slowly, oh, I've invited a genuinely crazy person onto my show, and I'm quite frightened of him.
He disowned...
But now he's in Sonic. So it seems like he's sort of normal again.
He disowned Kick-Ass 2 because
Sure.
he was the baddie in that,
Yes.
but he had a load of weaponry, and he was like a military man, and then there was another school shooting, and he sort of went, I can't be associated with this film. And so he said, I think it sort of promotes gun violence, yet he's fine with The Mask, where he has a Tommy gun. Like, what are the rules?
Have you seen that in the DVD of The Mask, one of the things he brings out of his
I
pocket?
haven't seen the DVD of The Mask.
Wow. There's still time. Lock the doors. In the sort of like non-broadcast version, when he's looking in his pockets for that balloon he turns into the Tommy gun, the first thing he brings out is a massive used condom.
That was in a cinema release.
What?
One of the first things I asked my parents about ever as a child. I said to him, why is his dick so big?
You said, Mum, Dad, was Jim Carrey's character's dick big before he put on the mask?
Mummy, was he really filling that thing out? Yes, he was.
Yes, son. It's one of the things the mask does to you. You'll learn this at school. I hate that.
What grade did you get in Stanley Ipkiss studies?
Good reference. Full name of the mask.
Yeah.
Well done. We should do some correspondence. We have time for some correspondence.
Yeah.
Altered lyrics from Michael. So this is inspired by, of course, gonna bum your dad, gonna bum your dad.
Gonna fuck your dad.
Sorry.
Yeah. Oh, I had one the other day that nearly came to me in basically a dream.
Yeah?
Wham.
Yeah?
Cheap massage from a chimpanzee. Awful technique. I don't think he's qualified. Ow, he's really hurting me. Please don't choose the happy ending. Cheap massage from a chimpanzee.
Yeah,
would be a
that's
really
the rest
great
of my
song.
fringe sorted. It's going to be in my fucking head for the rest of the month. Thank you for that. So this is from Michael. So it's Billy Joel again. A stupid song I made up as a kid, inspired by none other than Billiam Joel's That's good. We didn't start the fire. So original lyrics, obviously, we didn't start the fire. It was always burning since the world was turning. Altered. I didn't fart, you liar. No, I didn't lay it. I just tried to convey it. Is that good?
That's really
That's good. I didn't fart, you liar. That's really thinks the lady.
I forgot about my Billy Joel one, which I promised to do.
Oh yes.
Oh my God.
Glenn
Okay,
promised
I've
us
got
a
to find
Joel.
this. Uptown Girl. I just sent this to Pierre once. I was like free writing it on the tube. The lyrics were coming to me with the speed of the song. Diarrhea. It's been pouring from my granddad's rear. With the temperature of rotten flan. Now it's poking from the arse of Nan. A rancid ham. And when she squeezes, it pleases my mum. And when she forces the sauce from her bum, she'll defecate a bit, firing out liquid shit. Yes, it's diarrhea. It's diarrhea.
Yeah. Yeah. Two low points for me.
Just.
After years of this, I'm a strong pouring from. Don't like that. Don't like the visual of a bum being like a big jug. And pleases mum.
Yeah. Why she got a vested interest?
Yeah. She's there cheering this on, is she?
What doth it profit you, mother?
Oh, fucking hell. Is that going to be the round of applause you get this month that you remember the most? For your Billy Joel turd song rendition?
Yeah.
We have a trickaloo from Thomas.
Oh.
Trickaloo.
Does it count as a trickaloo?
Yeah.
Does it count as a trickaloo on my own spouse that my phone background is a stock photo of a family I don't know? What we did about that? Is that
Activate it again? Show these guys? The thing is that the not Glenn's face is just slightly obscured by the time at the top of the iPhone screen. So for a second you go, oh, that's... Oh. And I know that you've done that, and I've known that that's a fun joke on your phone for years, and I've fallen for it since the first time, probably another 3 times. Every time I go, oh, and that... It's so horrible. It's such an unsettlingly good... So this is Thomas's Trickaloo. How do they Fred Pierre and H and Glenn?
Okay.
Fred Perry and H&M?
Oh, right, yeah, I wouldn't know. No, you'd have noticed when I went. Oh, that I didn't know what was happening.
No, you just were being nice. I have 2 stupid trickaloos for you. One inherited, the other of my own making. The one I inherited was from my dad, who, when I was little, insisted that milk used to just be called ilk. That is a trickaloo. That's pathetic. Milk used to just be called ilk, but people would drink it and say, milk. That's great. That's great.
I thought it was a case of in the 1940s, it was how a man would greet milk. Milk?
And that's how it became milk.
But the idea is that you should have to pronounce it. Shall I get some milk?
Yeah. Could I just have like a cold glass of milk? That's how you talk when there's a burp in you. Milk.
In between these trickaloos, I did a decent trickaloo recently.
Oh, yeah?
To our good friend, who we always bleep the name out. But he came over to meet Le Buffon a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah.
And he came over with his fiancée.
Le Buffon is the new child.
There's the wretch. There's the wretch and the Buffon.
And Le Buffon.
About the official names. He came over, and it was a baking hot day. It was the hottest day of the year in London at the time of the year so far. And he came over, and I said, "Can I get a drink of anything?" And I thought he'd want a pint, but he was like, "Oh, just a water, please. I'm fucking dying." And I got him we've got these WeWork cups at home, you know, that we've stolen them from WeWork, the sort of tin metal ones. And as I handed it to him, I went, "Oh, careful, that's really hot," and handed him a baking hot cup of really warm water, and in the tin as well, it was like really fucking hot. Just maybe deducted like 0.4% off our friendship. Do you know what I mean? There's no use for me to do that at all.
He said you were folded double.
It was just purely going, careful, that's really hot. Like as I handed it off to him.
On the hottest day, a metal cup of hot water. It's a great trickaloo, though. It's a perfect trickaloo.
Who wins? No one.
Yeah.
Trickaloo.
A pointless act of trickery. So that's what people would drink it and say, milk. And that's how it became milk. He doubled down when I questioned it as I grew up by explaining that the word ilk, meaning similar kinds, came from this, because in ancient times you would only have milk from your mother, who is your family and therefore your ilk. I mean, that's good stuff. That's good stuff. It's a trickaloo on a kid, which is always easier. I trickalooed one of my nephews, where, you know, sometimes you get a little mole, but it's red, not brown, like a little red mole.
Where is this possibly going?
Well, I've got a little red like dot on my arm. That's always there because it should be a mole.
Because of that sniper just opposite.
Yeah. So in case I mention,
he's got awful aim.
Yeah. Sorry, in case I mention the protocol. As long as I don't fully describe the protocol, the dot will never move from my arm to my head. And he pointed at it and he went, "What's that? Is that have you got a cut?" And I said, "It's where a gnome bit me." But I'm deadly serious. Like, I even hushed my voice a bit. Like, "It's where a gnome bit me." He went, "A gnome?" I went, "Yeah. I was on my way to your house, actually. And a gnome jumped out of the bushes and just bit me on my arm." He went, "What did you do?" I said, "I kicked him over the houses."
Like vermin.
Bow! Just this gnome flipping over fucking... He's like, "Where did he go?" I went, "Someone's garden, I guess. Still out there." Fucking hell.
I accidentally did this to the wretch the other day.
Did you?
Yeah, we were driving past a place. There's an area called Totteridge and Whetstone.
Yeah.
It's quite a fancy part of North London. And we were driving through the area of Whetstone, and it's a dentistry place, and it's called Whetstone Smiles. And I turned to Katie, and I said, "Do you know my favourite thing?" Do you know my favourite thing about gargoyles in the rain? Why? 'Twould have to be there. And then I pointed at wet stone smiles. And obviously she asked me for a divorce, but like it was just like... But obviously the wretch in the back is like, gargoyles are a concern now? They're a day-to-day concern in my life now?
Yeah. Oh, those are real.
My favourite thing about gargoyles. Yeah.
And you like them, do you,
Yeah,
Dad?
yeah. They're wet stone smiles.
I asked a friend of mine's wife is Mexican, and I was trying to explain the wretch as a nickname for a child. And I said, what would it be in Spanish? And she looked it up, and it was El Miserable. El Miserable. My second stupid non-fact is I love to tell people that Preston is one of the oldest settlements in the UK, and possibly the world, because its name comes from pre-stone. That's good. That's good. Because that's how long ago it was made. Pre-Stone Age.
That's fucking bullshit.
Before cavemen even thought stone is a good thing to pick up, pebbles. Like, that's great.
I hate Preston Station because I was in Preston Station and I missed a train because I kept looking at the clock and it was like, oh, I've got plenty of time. And they have a drawing of a clock in the station.
You got trick-a-looed. You got trick-a-looed by Preston Station.
For some reason, huge clock, but just says quarter to one at all times.
Oh, I've got ages. When they dispute this fact, I have to enlighten them by revealing that they're thinking of rock. And actually, we've always had rock, but stone is very specific building material. Hence the Stone Age and stone masonry, etc. That's good. That's exactly the kind of QI pedantry people respect.
Yeah.
Alan Davies saying, "Is it rock?" Well, no. No, Alan, it's stone.
Alan Davies'
Thomas.
life must be hell. I imagine that buzzer follows him around everywhere in his life.
Yeah, for comedy purposes, he's had to...
shall I some chamomile tea? Brr, it's not technically tea. Fuck off! Leave me alone! Can I have one day?
He's at the Fringe.
Well, actually, it's not technically the Edinburgh Fringe. Ah, fuck off!
This is the price of, for comedy, convincing the public that you're the thick one out of you and Stephen Fry. Even though it's probably equal, because he's just got cards. Guys, the time has come for bonus pod. We're sliding seamlessly into Patreon territory.
Yes, give us a cheer. Give us a cheer if you're not on the Patreon. Get out.
Yeah, getting out into that cool night air. That's your punishment.
Hey, you fucking losers.
Oh, enjoy breathing air that hasn't already been breathed. Lamos.